For 10 years, Michael habitually survived the corporate grind by repeating a single phrase, "I will be happy once I finally make partner." He sacrificed sleep for spreadsheets and traded family dinners for a seat at the table. He spent a decade treating his physical and mental health as secondary to a distant finish line. The big day finally arrives. Michael secures the promotion, steps into his new office, and his salary jumps into the six-figure range. He stands alone in the quiet office, waiting for the immense satisfaction he was promised. Instead, a heavy, terrifying wave of emptiness settles in. He has reached the exact position he spent a decade chasing, yet at his career peak, he feels more depressed than he did when he was dead broke. Why does hitting these standard milestones of success trigger an emotional vacuum rather than the happiness we expect? Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar identifies this phenomenon as the arrival fallacy. It is the belief that reaching a specific destination, a job title, a bank balance, or a status, will lead to a permanent state of contentment. This powerful illusion is driven by a biological process called hedonic adaptation, also known as the hedonic treadmill. This chart shows how we adapt. When you hit a milestone, satisfaction spikes. But almost immediately, your brain's baseline resets to this new level, erasing the joy. To feel satisfaction again, you must immediately chase the next, larger goal, outrunning your own adaptation. The finish line is a neurological mirage. It moves backward the moment it is crossed, keeping a sense of completion just out of reach. To understand why we are prone to this chase, we have to look at the brain's chemical design. The human brain is neurologically wired to reward the effort toward reaching a target, not the actual moment of reaching it. While climbing the ladder, the anticipation of success kept his brain flooded with dopamine. The work was fueled by the promise of reward, but once the goal is reached, anticipation vanishes. Without a future target, dopamine production drops instantly. This post-success depression is a form of clinical withdrawal. The brain has lost its steady supply of anticipation-driven neurochemicals, leading to a sudden and severe psychological crash. Because success signals the end of the very anticipation that triggers a reward, a life built on a series of fixed goals creates a repeating cycle of chemical surges and inevitable crashes. To break this cycle, Michael needs more than just a new set of targets. He needs a different approach to his daily life. The psychological solution to the hedonic treadmill is a framework called system-centric living. This involves detaching your sense of satisfaction from distant outcomes and reattaching it to the daily execution of your routine. This chart illustrates the shift. By focusing on the daily routine rather than the finish line, you derive dopamine from the execution of the task itself, rather than waiting for a massive, distant payout. This requires learning to appreciate the repetition and the quiet boredom of the process. In this framework, the arrival becomes irrelevant. If the satisfaction is found in the daily work, there is no endpoint to trigger a post-success crash. By letting go of the idea that happiness exists at a future destination, we stop waiting for a day that never arrives and begin living in the present reality.